All right, let's talk Ohio State Buckeyes. Look, obviously, the 2024 recruiting cycle has ended. It was a pretty good one for Ohio State. Spring ball isn't that far away either. It almost feels like football is slowly starting to come back, even though it hasn't been gone that too long. But during the interim between those two phases, recruiting and spring ball, the Buckeyes have pulled off a kind of sneaky good addition to their staff here. Let's get into the report, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. This is courtesy of 24/7 Sports. The Scarlet and Gray are expected to hire Sam Patito as the program's new director of player personnel. This was first reported by Alex Gleitman of On Three's Letterman Row. According to the Ohio State University staff directory, Patito has been hired as an athletic operations specialist and will work with the football team under general manager slash associate athletic director for player personnel, Mark Pantoni. Patito, an Amite, Louisiana native, comes to Ohio State from Alabama, where he served as the director of personnel operations under head coach Nick Saban for the last 8 years. He also worked under Saban as a defensive intern of the program in 2008. All right, I think this is a chance to be a really good addition to the Ohio State Buckeyes staff. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. I know you've got some good stuff, but first, Buckeyes fans in the comment section below. Like I said, spring ball is not that far away. Then before you know it, regular season will finally be back. As we're looking forward to the 2024 regular season, what's the one game you're looking forward to more than any other, except Michigan? Can't say Michigan. That's too easy. So give me another game you're really looking forward to this upcoming season and put it in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this hire, what it means for Ohio State going forward.
Yeah, Nick, I think this hire brings twofold. One, kind of a thing that Ohio State has done, which I think is very smart, and two, one that how it fits in the overall theme of this team going forward. First, though, I think it's really smart that ever since Nick Saban retired, Ohio State really has capitalized going to the Alabama well early and often, whether it's through players getting safety Caleb Downs and quarterback Julian Sayin, or getting coaches and front office personnel when you look at offensive line coach Seth McLaughlin, who came over, and now the addition of Sam Patito. I think they've really done a great job of capitalizing on that as often as possible because this is a guy who's been with Nick Saban for a really long time when we're referring to Sam Patito. I think he's a really crucial part of Saban in the operation they had as far as recruiting, because that brings me to my second point. This is a roster of coaches and front office that Coach Ryan Day has built where he is heavily focused on the recruiting game now. He's brought in good recruiter after good recruiter after good recruiter, and this move is no different, bringing in another highly touted recruiter from Alabama. This guy was absolutely phenomenal there. They had, I believe, six top two classes while he was there. Three of them were number one overall classes while his time in Alabama. Very, very impressive recruiting tenure from this guy in San Petito. And I think just all around, this guy has a lot of experience all over the country because he wasn't just at Alabama. He was also at Georgia for a while. He was also at UNC. He had a lot of high caliber programs in his back pocket. He's been all around the country in a lot of those southeastern regions. He knows the area very, very well. So I think coming over to Ohio State, having a guy that familiar with the Southeast is very, very good for them as far as their recruiting game can help them spread their reach and get those high level players from that area of the country. So I think those two aspects, going to Alabama well early and often and getting as much value as they could there, and bringing in another high level recruiter to this recruiting, kind of situated staff, I think it was a great move by Coach Ryan Day.
I think you hit on something really important there. And right now in college football, and every coach knows this, and every program knows this as well. With Nick Saban retiring, there is a power vacuum the size of a black hole, and it's coming out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Alabama was not only the most winningest, the most dominant program over the past 2 decades, they were also the most consistent recruiting powerhouse, as you alluded to during that time as well. And now with Nick Saban gone, as we've seen on Ohio State's taken advantage of that. You talked about a number of transfers. You talked about the commits that have shifted from the Crimson Tide coming up to the Buckeyes now. This is a massive opportunity for other programs to move in and take advantage of this opportunity. And to do that, you need connections. And I think Petito is a perfect guy with those connections, with that understanding of that region to allow Ohio State to start making inroads in the Southeast. Because it's interesting, if you go back the past three recruiting classes, 2022, 2023, and 2024, you'll notice the kind of recurring theme. Alabama finished second, Ohio State finished fourth. If we fast forward to 2023, Alabama finished first, Ohio State finished fourth. If we go this past season, Alabama finished second, Ohio State finished fifth. right? So obviously, Ohio State, they're one of the best recruiting programs in the country. That's no surprise there, obviously. But it's clear Alabama has outperformed them pretty much every year, certainly in the last 3 years. With this power vacuum, Ohio State recognizes smartly so. It's like, hey, we can move in and leapfrog and compete now directly with Georgia, the other top recruiting powerhouse in the country. We can now become the number one, the number two. There is an opportunity there for us to take that mantle. And I give a lot of credit to Ryan Day because, look, it's hard to humble yourself. I know Ryan Day has gone through some humbling experiences, especially the loss to Missouri, the past 3 defeats at the hands of the Michigan Wolverines. But it is hard to really humble yourself and say, hey, look, I'm going to get some of another coach's guys to help me out here. And that's exactly what Day has done. And I think it's a great thing that he needed to do. And I'm really proud of him for doing it. Of course, he made the offensive coordinator change as well. Another fantastic move. But here he's recognizing, hey, there's an opportunity here. There's a power vacuum. There is a recruiting vacuum that if we go in and we take advantage of it and get a stranglehold on it, we can replace Alabama and compete with Georgia. Because right now, Georgia's uncontested number one, right? Alabama was their only real threat in that part of the country, undeniably. But if Ohio State can make some inroads, and with Ohio State's control in other regions, specifically the Midwest, suddenly it's not Georgia number one, Alabama number two, and Ohio State 4 or 5. Suddenly it's Georgia and Ohio State going out at 1A, 1B. And the moment that happens, Ohio State isn't just beating Michigan. Ohio State isn't just winning the Big Ten again. They're competing and winning national titles. I think these are one of these kind of moves that can really drive this engine of Ohio State to the next level.